Kiosk Radio. Potato, tomato. Welcome once again to Potato Tomato, Tomato Potato Potato Tomato Tomato Potato. Third show in a row. 9 more to go. Today we have a very special guest amongst us. We're not gonna tell her name yet. We also have somebody on the phone later, and we're not gonna tell his name either. Just stick around and stay with us because we actually have food. So instead of staying home, instead of being in your comfy zone, come on over and have some rice with us. Probably around 1:30. We have rice and seaweed and stuff that goes with that. Yum 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 yum.
and chocolate. Cheese 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 and chocolate. I'm at the grocery store, hungry as fuck. I swear I make this mistake every fucking time. Let's get this over with. Oh, what am I seeing there? Ho, 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 that's the fucking cheese aisle. I grab a cheese and bite straight into it. I grab another cheese and bite right into it as well. Oh, now I've gone and eaten both the cheeses. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, just get a grip. Cheese and chocolate, cheese and chocolate, cheese and chocolate, cheese and chocolate. After a nice meal of exclusively cheese, you've got to top it up with chocolate, just as God intended. So I head to the chocolate aisle where the Bridget Jonesian girl failures and the Etsy witches commune with their chocolate-smeared hands. They draw pentagrams on the floor. I grab a strawberry buttercream bar and an Excellence Noir Supreme, biting right into it, wrapper and all. Aluminium foil. Oh, yeah! You know that's the good stuff. Cheese. And chocolate. Cheese. Chocolate, cheese, and 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 chocolate, chocolate. Ma'am, that'll make 44 euros and 50 cents. I bang a 50-euro note onto the desk. Keep the change, darling.
Song of Tea by Lu Tung. The first cup moistens my lips and throat. The second cup breaks my loneliness. The third cup searches my barren entrail. But to find therein some 1,000 volumes of odd ideographs. The fourth cup raises a slight perspiration.
All the wrongs of life pass out through my pores. At the fifth cup, I'm purified. The sixth cup calls me to the realms of the immortals. The seventh cup, but I could take no more. I only feel the breath of the cool wind that raises in my sleeves. Where is paradise? Let me ride on the sweet breeze and waft away thither.
Thither, thither.
feel strange now.
Life is really a
She
matter
said,
of coffee and
I
whatever.
don't want to talk.
Intimacy,
I want
a cup of coffee and fork.
I said, because it
I
was
once
the
read
last thing in the
something
world.
about coffee. The
that
thing
I
said that
wanted.
coffee is good for you.
I said it in
It
such a
stimulates
way that
all
it
the
sounded
organs.
as if I were reading her a
I thought at first this was a strange way to
Somebody
put it,
else.
and not altogether pleasant.
A person who really
But
wanted a cup
as
of
time goes
coffee,
by,
cared about
I have
nothing
found out that it
else.
makes sense
All right,
in its
she
own
said.
limited way.
I
I'll
followed
tell
her
you
up the stairs. It was
what I mean.
ridiculous.
Yesterday
She had
morning,
just
I went
put some
over to see
clothes
a girl.
on.
I like her.
They had
Whatever
not
we
quite
had going
adjusted
for us
themselves
is
to
gone
her
now.
body.
She does not care for
I
me.
could tell you about her ass.
I blew it,
We
and
went
I
into
wish
the
I
kitchen.
hadn't. I rang
She
the
took a
doorbell and
jar
waited
of
on the
instant
stairs.
coffee
I could
off
hear
the
her
shelf
moving around
and
upstairs.
put it on the table.
The way she moved, I could
She
tell that she was
placed
getting
a
up.
cup next
I had
to
awakened
it
her.
and a spoon.
Then she came down the stairs.
I looked at
I
them.
could feel her approach in my
She
stomach.
put a
Every
pan
step
full
she
of
took
water on
stirred
the
my
stove
feelings and led indirectly to
turned
her
the
opening
gas
the
on
door.
under
She
it.
saw me and
All
it,
this time,
it did not
she
please
did
her.
not say a word.
Once upon a time, it pleased her very much. Last week, I wonder where it went, pretending to be naive. The water would boil faster now.
I went to her house.
It
She
would
didn't
only
have a
take
doorbell.
6 months.
That was a
The
small
horse was,
victory.
the house was quiet.
One must keep track of all the
I
small
looked out
victories.
the back
I
porch.
do, anyway.
There were sacks of
She
garbage
answered
there.
the door.
I
She was
stared at the
holding a
garbage and
rope
tried to figure out what
in
she had
front of her.
been
She
eating
didn't
lately
believe
by
that.
studying the containers
She
and
was
peelings and stuff.
What do you want? She said.
I couldn't tell a
believing
thing.
now that
It
she
was now
could see
March.
me.
The water started to boil.
I walked right into the house.
I was pleased by this.
She turned and closed the
I
door
looked at the
in such a
table.
way that I
There
could
was
see
the
her
jar of
profile.
instant coffee,
She
the
had
empty
not
cup
bothered
and
to
spoon,
wrap the rope
all laid
completely
out
around
like a
herself.
funeral service.
She was just holding
There are,
the rope in front
there are the
of
things that you
herself.
need to make a cup of coffee.
I could see
When I
an
left the house 10
unbroken
minutes
line
later, the
body
cup of
running
coffee
from her
safely
head
inside me like a
to her
grave.
feet.
I said, "Thank you
It looked kind
for
of
the
strange.
cup of coffee."
Perhaps because
"You're
it was
welcome," she
so
said.
late
Her
at
voice
night.
came from
What do
behind
you
a closed
want?
door.
She said.
Her voice
"I
sounded
want a
like
cup
another
of
telegram.
coffee,"
It was
I
really
said.
time for me to
What a
leave.
funny thing to
I
say
spent
to
the rest of
say
the day
again
not
for a
making
cup of
coffee. It
was
was
not
comfort.
what I really wanted.
An evening came.
She looked
I
at
had
me
dinner
and wheeled
in a
slightly
restaurant
on the
and went to a
profile.
bar.
She was not
I had some
pleased to
drinks
see me.
and talked to some
Let the
people.
Anna tell us that she did it.
We were bar people
Why don't you
and,
have a cup
and
of
said
coffee
bar
with me?
things.
I said.
None of them
I
remembered.
feel like talking
And the
to
bar
you.
closed.
We
It
haven't
was 2
talked
o'clock
for
in the
a long
morning.
time.
I had to go
She
outside.
looked
It
at
was
me and
foggy and
wheeled
cold in
slightly
San
on the profile.
Francisco.
I started
I wondered
to
about the
look
fog
line
and
of her
felt
body.
very human and exposed.
This was
I decided
not
to go
good.
to visit another girl. We had not been friends for over a year. Once we were very close, and I wondered, what was she thinking about now? "It's too late," she said. "I have to get up in the morning. If you want a cup of coffee, there's instant in the kitchen. I have to go to bed." The kitchen light was on. I looked down the hall into the kitchen. I didn't feel like going into the kitchen and having another cup of coffee by myself. I didn't feel like going to anybody else's house and asking them for a cup of coffee. I realized that the day had been committed to a very strange pilgrimage, and I had not planned it that way. At least the jar of instant coffee was not on the table beside an empty white cup and a spoon. They say in the spring, a young man's fancy turns to thoughts of love. Perhaps, if he has enough time left over, his fancy can even make room for a cup of coffee.
I love cheese. Cheese in a jar, cheese in a tube, cheese in an aerosol can. Cheese is cheese is cheese. Cheese is you, is me, is you in me. Insert that aerosol can of yours and spray that cheese right into me. Make me the cheesiest bitch out there. Make me write you love songs in the shower. Make me buy you chocolates and flowers. Turn me into a human chocolate fountain. Stick strawberry skewers into my skin as the gooey brown stuff flows over the berries, coating them in my love, my sickly sweet love engulfing your berries, suffocating you in my liquid kisses. Chocolate flowing into your gullet, stuffing your liver, I turn you into a chocolatey pâté, devouring you on the kitchen table. I wish I were a mouse, so I could live inside my cheesy house, wake up in my cheesy bed, and make myself a cup of cheesy coffee in the morning. Don't talk to me until I've had my cheesy coffee, I'd say to the postman as he drops off my cheese parcels and drives off in his cheese-mobile. I'd spent the day scurrying around green pastures, looking forward to my cheesy dinner, waiting for me in my cheesy house. After my cheese platter for dessert, I'd settle into my cheesy bed with a good cheesy book, and I'd fall into a cheesy slumber, dreaming about the cheeses I'd encounter in the morning. But alas, mice don't actually like cheese all that much, and I am not a mouse.
Camembert plus Nutella is underrated. Guest 696A3 3A3. First track was big one. Okay.
Oh, where's the tea? Ah.
Yes, the book. They know you very well.
Tea in China. The tea tree is native to Southeast Asia, South China, and its curvy and rich, tender young leaves were probably chewed raw long before recorded history.
This is some of the best tea.
Preparation of tea leaves for infusion in water evolved slowly.
Very
There's evidence that by the 3rd century
This I'll drink myself.
CE, the leaves were boiled and then dried for later use, and that by the 8th century they were also stir-fried before drying. These techniques would give green or yellow-green leaves in infusions,
Probably high for him.
and mild but bitter and
For a lot less, but I'd rather
astringent flavor.
we would
More strongly flavored and orange red teas like modern oolongs were developed around the 17th century, probably beginning with the accidental observation that the leaves develop a distinct
Aroma and color when they're allowed to wilt or are pressed before being dried. It was around this time that China began to trade extensively with Europe and Russia, and the new, more complex style of tea conquered England, where consumption rose from £20,000 in 1700 to 20 million in 1800. The strong black tea that's most familiar in the West today is a relatively recent invention. The result of intensive pressing, the Chinese developed it in the 1840s specifically for export to the West.
The spread of tea production. Until the late 19th century, all tea in world trade was China tea. But when China began to resist Britain's practice of paying for its expensive tea habit with opium, the British intensified tea production in their own colonies, particularly India. For warm regions, they cultivated an indigenous variety, which has more phenolic components and caffeine than China tea, and produces a stronger, darker black tea. They planted the hardier China types in the Himalayan foothills of Darjeeling and at the high elevations in the south. India is now the world's largest tea producer.
Today, about 3/4 of the tea produced in the world is black tea. China and Japan still produce and drink more green tea than black.
When I get lonely, I watch mukbang ASMR videos. I like to watch pretty girls eating sushi slathered in a creamy sauce. I like watching pretty girls eating a whole bowl of fiery instant ramen noodle. I watch pretty girls eating a family-sized seafood boil. Pretty girls eating sea grapes and rainbows. Pretty girls eating wrenches and phones. Pretty girls nibbling the tips of my finger. From pinky to the ring finger, then the middle to the index, to the first thumb and the second, onto the index, to the middle, to the ring, to the pinky, to the ring, the middle, the pointer, thumb, thumb, pointer, stinker, rinker, klein, mittel, ring, Zeige, Daumen, Daumen, Zeige, mittel, ring, klein, auriculaire, annulaire, majeur, index, pouce, 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 pouce. The bumpy skin of her tongue surfs over the now wrinkly skin on my fingers. With their little mouths agape, my fingers groan in unison. Stay hydrated. Stay hydrated, 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 hydrated. You gotta hydrate, 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 stay hydrated, you guys, hydrate. You gotta hydrate, you guys. Gotta get those 2 liters of fluid somehow, am I right? Ich bin schon immer eine nasse Bögesserin gsi. Schon als kleines Kind habe ich den Geschmack dafür entwickelt. Eine Gourmand, eine Feinschmeckerin, ein Foodie. Eating a booger is an experience in 3 parts. The discovery, the harvest, and finally the dégustation, the tasting. We begin with the discovery. An avid nose picker usually knows the season during which the ripest boogers bloom in one's nose. The perfect body for booger picking gets a healthy amount of runny noses, but has good dry periods in between to produce some crisp. We like to say that winter, cold season, and spring, allergy season, are the prime times for boogers. But every once in a while we have the luck of developing a cold in summer, and nothing quite beats eating a crispy booger while laying on the beach soaking in the sun. When discovering a booger, it is important to wait for its prime. You want to monitor it. Is it still rather liquid? Then let it firm up. Is it already crisping up? Then don't wait too long. Once they are fully crisped up, they detach from the inner nose wall and poof, they're gone. It's also crucial to keep your nose out of other people's businesses when you have a big juicy booger growing, because they may just smell it and snatch it straight out of your nose with their sharp beaks, which would be a pity. Next comes the harvest. Knowing when a booger is ready to be plucked is a personal preference. Boogers are made of dried nasal mucus. As it dries, it goes from liquid to gooey to solid. Some people prefer them chewy, others crispy. If you are still a beginner, I suggest you try them in each aggregate state. See what you like best. Generally, people like them on the firmer side with a bit of a bounce. It's a booger after all, and boogers are famously sticky, so don't be afraid of the slimy texture. It's part of the fun. When harvesting, the tool for doing so is of utmost importance. Booger fanatics like using all kinds of fancy schmancy tools: tweezers, chopsticks, cocaine spoon, light bulb filaments, stag beetles, toothbrushes, with and without toothpaste, lash glue, dandelions, etc., etc., etc. Exactly. But I keep coming back to the good old finger. Honestly, nothing quite beats a finger. I would suggest starting with the thumb or index finger. They're an amazing combo, since together they can reach each part of the nose cavity. And finally, after all of that, we come to the last part, the tasting. Just like in wine tasting, to unlock the full flavor profile of the booger, you must masticate it thoroughly. Aerate that booger, let it develop, let it surprise you. In this last step, your tongue becomes your tool. Let it glide along the booger. What do you feel? Press it against the roof of your mouth, lightly nibble it with your teeth. How do you like the different consistency? How is the chew? Tough, rubbery, or butter-like? Does the crisp undermine or elevate the gooiness? What about taste? Is it a salty explosion, or are there some sweet undertones? Can you taste the umami profile of the booger? What about the temperature? Is it nice and warm or on the cooler side? What is it like eating yourself? Do you feel closer to your essence, or is it an out-of-body experience? Would you consider this a first step to self-cannibalization? Is it a love letter to yourself? Do you accept yourself as a whole, or can you taste the notes of bitterness you've accumulated over the years? Does it taste similar to your father's boogers, or did you inherit your mother's mucus profile? Do you think your ancestors' boogers were like yours, or has global warming and pollution made your boogers unrecognizable to theirs? Does it taste kind of acidic to you? Can a booger be poisonous? Do you think by inhaling exhaust fumes and cigarette smoke all day, that has made my boogers radioactive? Don't hesitate to ask yourself these tough questions. Dig deep. There are no stupid questions. Well, I hope you were able to enjoy this introduction into booger eating, and with that I leave you with a bon appetit. Don't eat anything I wouldn't eat, and have a cheesy day, y'all.
euch die Stimme der Energie, Juri Gagarin aus Hamburg, Deutschland. I want to introduce my favorite recipe for a hot drink. It's a German drink and it's very easy to make. The drink is hot beer. What do? First of all, why hot beer? It's a recipe that my great-grand aunt, Tante Ilse from Kassel, who had a dog called Gregor, always recommended my parents to prepare if the children don't want to fall asleep. So, how do you make warm beer? You take a nice German lager beer. It can also be Weizenbier. And then you pour it into a pot, which you usually use to cook some eggs, maybe. And then you warm it. And don't make it too hot, because then children don't like that. They prefer things that are cold. But cold beer is not good for children. It's not good because it has alcohol. But when you warm it up, some of the alcohol, at least that's what Tante Ilse said, some of the alcohol will evaporate. And then you give it to the children. You say, here's a nice good night drink, also called a nightcap. And then they drink it. And usually they fall asleep instantly, like in a little coma. And then they wake up and they are very happy and they feel very German. Because, of course, they were drinking German beer. This is my recipe. Recommendation for the cooking course that I'm connected to right now. Viele schöne Grüße aus Hamburg, Deutschland, von der Stimme der Energie, Juri Gagarin. I go for grüner Reis. Mums.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming. This is Benedict Taylor. I'm Neil Lowe. I don't know if he's playing like the drone outside, but it's useful. We tuned into that naturally. If for the young girl, if for the young boys were heads on the mountain, if all the young boys were heads on the mountain, how many young girls would take guns and go hunting? If young men could sing like blackbirds and thrushes, if young men could sing like blackbirds and thrushes, how many young girls would go beating the bushes? If young men could swim like fish in the water, if young men could swim.
Thank you very much for listening to Potato, Tomato, Tomato, Potato, Potato, Tomato, Potato, Tomato, Potato, Tomato. Today's guests, Anina Müller and Felix Kubin. Tune in next time again, every third Monday of the month. We are here with what we do best on the radio, I guess. As we are speaking, Michelle is handing out food, so don't forget, every time we are on the radio, we have food. Food, you can yum yum yum. Lekkere food, lekker eten. Is het lekker? Is het lekker? I see people doing this. I see people doing that. I see people doing this. I see people doing. So please join us next time. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Anina.
Bye. Michelle, say bye. Michelle, say bye.
Bye, bye, bye. Thank you very much. See you next month. I'll be in the Philippines.
Ah!